Hello guys, welcome back. Wow, there is a plethora of information we're going to be reviewing when we go to the charts in a little bit. It was a crazy fun day today, and we basically ended the stream staring at MIST. Was it going to hold? Was it an offering going to come out? I mean, it is loaded, absolutely loaded with warrants on their 8K that they recently came out with, actually just today. So definitely check that out in your own time. We're going to review it a little bit here in this video too. I didn't want to dive into too much to take up too much time because there's just a lot of lessons to review today. So I want to talk about really key stuff that I was looking for today that decided me on a lot of my entries and why I got out at certain points. And then also with MIST, why I knew I was not going to trade it into the market open. So just a lot of stuff I want to review with you guys. I also sold the Sonos trade today, so I want to review that quickly with you guys as well. I mean, yeah, like every ticker, I'm just looking through the list right now, every ticker that we were looking at today, so there was something shady about it. If it was the way it was trading pre-market, or if it was some warrant news, or if it was an offering, I don't know, or if it was the fact that there was no news, I don't know. Today, I knew it was going to be a weird day. So going into that, I was really able to adjust myself and kind of navigate today and walk away profitable, which is great because we started the day up pretty nice, almost $200, and then I gave back almost all of it right to the market open, made a fatal mistake, and we're going to review that fatal mistake as well. Yeah, just a bunch of information I got to review with you guys. So let's honestly, just without further ado, let's just go to the charts now and then get right into it. So guys, drop a like if you enjoy the content. If you're totally new here, consider subscribing. I would love to see you again. Join the community. We go live every morning at 9:15 a.m. to review the watch list, trade the market open. Let's go to the charts now. Oh my god, okay, I think it's finally happening here. We were waiting for quite some time on the live stream to see if we can watch the MIST capitulation happen, but it was taking quite some long time. We ended the stream around 11:15. This thing is just selling off like an absolute racehorse. We're going to talk about why IMST was a big red flag, and this thing is probably going to get halted here in a second. If it doesn't get halted, I will honestly be super surprised. Now it's having a little bit of bounce here. This is honestly ridiculous. How is this thing still holding up? There's a lot of good stuff that I think, especially if you're totally new to trading, if you're new to the channel, that you can learn off of this ticker. So we're going to be reviewing it quite a bit. I'm going to put an alert here so I don't lose track of this thing, falling down. So while we watch this, let's talk about what's going on here. MIST was one of the lead gappers today. It was popping up a little bit late on the scanners. And the reason it was popping up late is because it had, I think, some catalyst that came out, got released a little bit later here. Yeah, they had the 25K million private placement. So basically, that's basically an offering, but it's a private offering. So sometimes it's to friends and families from directors. Sometimes it's to a private institution. Sometimes it's just to an individual that wants to invest in the company, or they got them to invest into the company. MIST had 22 million float, Canadian biotech, with some positive mixed news, but they had some really unattractive catalysts. If you go over to their and this always kind of freezes my computer a little bit. I can try it, see what happens. But yeah, let's try it anyway. So if you go over what's it called? OTCmarkets.com, and this is one of my favorite websites to use for this. And then you go to disclosure, and let's kind of pull this up here for a little bit. And then you go to obviously the ticker, which is MIST, and then you go here a little bit lower, taking a little bit longer to load. Doom. Make sure I don't have anything else open. Okay, yeah, good. MIST. Then you go here to disclosure, which we're already selected. I'm just constantly watching MIST. I feel like it's going to get halted any moment. Look, this is pulling back again here. Oh my lord. And then you kind of go down here a little bit, and you could see here S3s. These are usually offering filings, so you guys can go through that. 8Ks are updates on their overall financials. Always good to go over this one, and you can also see warrants and everything tasty on the 8K. So usually if you Google warrants or search warrants on these things, you'll come up with like 20 or 30 searches, but this thing has 82. This thing is littered with warrants, and they recently had an offering. I think it was on this S3 that you can find here. basically 100 million at I think $4 or so. So those are going to get exercised probably today. Yeah, here we go. 100 million at where is it? There's a $4 in here somewhere. I would have to check it out again. The exercise price. 1 second. Exercise price. Here it's 789. There's another one at 4. I would have to relook for it. Anyway, you guys can go through all this on your own time. I also have, I'm coming out with a video in my fundamental series that's going to come out where I review the Form 8K, the 10K, or the 10Q, and some of the S1s in different forms, but talk about how I use this to kind of look if a company is looking a little bit sketchy. Anyway, I would highly recommend going through the MIST and see, just search for warrants, search for exercise price, and oh, you guys can't really see what I did here, but basically, let me see if I can get this back up. Let me go make this a little bit smaller here. You can see here I was searching for warrants, and again you can check out exercise price, and then just start going through these forms and see. I don't know why I can't spell exercise price today, and see what you guys can find for yourselves, and see what the prices are, how many shares are available to be exercised at these prices, and these will give you kind of ideas of where there might be ceilings in the stock. And that's why with MIST, I knew I would not want to be trading this one today. Not to mention, if you look at their long-term chart, you could basically tell that this one has dilution. So this one fell off a cliff, and this was a big drop, and we tried to retest this area at 7. We finally broke above it today at 7, but now we have huge resistance here at about $10, $9.50, and so it was a nice little gap fill, but I knew this was going to be cautious out of the gates. And the fact that it has so much volume today is a little bit biased, because it, if you just go back here before all the offering stuff, it had big volume in the past. So it's just, a bunch of new shares being diluted into the market. So this will not hold this stock price, and most likely eventually be under $1 at one point. So I'm very bearish on MIST. One thing I do want to point out, if you guys have been trading for a little bit longer, you've thought about shorting, typically you can only short stocks that are easy to borrow. So if we go to, let's say, Tesla, which actually might not be easy to borrow. Let me quickly see here what this one says. Tesla. Net position. I don't know why this one doesn't come out with anything. Hard to borrow as well. Okay, well, I'm really picking the wrong ones. Let's go to T, which is AT&T. Let's see. This one's probably easy to borrow. This one's up so nicely. This is actually one of my dividend stocks. Doing quite nice. So this one's easy to borrow. Here you can see this one. So I could easily short this one right now if I wanted to. So I could go here, place a limit order short right here, and there's no issues. Now with MIST, this one is officially NTB, which is no shares to borrow, right? This thing, if I try to short this one, it will be rejected right away. And that is because there's no shares available on TOS as a short. Now, sometimes it says hard to borrow, and actually on the live stream it said hard to borrow. That basically means I could short it, but I have to have an account that is suitable for shorting hard to borrow stocks, or that has access to it. And if I talked to TOS support, or actually my brother did, credits to Heiko, but he was talking to TOS because he was trying to short a stock. And basically, if it's hard to borrow, you need an account size over $100,000, or you do not get access to those hard to borrow shares. So easy to borrow, think about it like this. As long as you have a margin account with, I think, over $2,000, you can do easy to borrow stocks. Hard to borrow, you need an account over $100,000. No shares to borrow. NTB just basically means all the shares that TOS had available to borrow, they no longer have. Or I should really say TD Ameritrade, because TOS is just the trading platform. So yeah, kind of an interesting little side part in there. And I knew that this thing had so much resistance. I knew it was kind of a late bloomer, and that's why I was really cautious with this one out of the gates, or in terms of trading it into the market open, because I knew that $7 to $9 is going to have huge resistance, and most likely $9.50 based on the long-term chart was going to be tremendous resistance and probably not get past that area. So basically what happened here, I knew that, okay, I knew this is going to be probably a shady stock to trade. I'm going to be a little careful with it. I know we had a nice little 5-minute flag pattern. I actually bought it here, and I was looking for a nice rip to the upside. I actually got faked out right here, and I lost like 2-3% on this trade, which is a little bit annoying. I bought the dip here, and I closed my position right here at like the perfect low, because I was like, I had to cut my losses. I basically said, if we break below 53, I got to cut, which sucks. I mean, I should have averaged down here, and then, you know, I took this rip to the upside. I did one more trade here as we were pulling back to the upside. I entered this again. This time I was able to walk away with like $80 profit or $70 profit, which basically brought my loss back up in the green. Or no, it was like $50 profit because I had like a $30 loss. So I totally stumbled over MIST. It started pulling up here, and you know, all of a sudden it was already at like $8. And I knew into the open that there's a good chance it might spike up, but there's also a good chance it might drop down. And I just knew that, you know, even if we get back above 8.5, max will probably go as 9 or 9.5. So I see much more risk in MIST than I see any sort of potential reward. So I just totally did not look at MIST. And you can see it was a good idea because we had this vicious pullback here. This was a big flush that if I bought the breakout here at 8.5, you know, I would have boom, been down like 11% instantly. You know, buying in here, again, I don't know. I find this very risky. I mean, yeah, it could break up. It could also break down. This was a 14% move in 3 candles, so beautiful move there. Congrats to anyone that got it. I think there was some good opportunities on this one. You just had to be very, very quick. I think buying this maybe 9-minute EMA pullback to 7.6 would have been the clearest thing because this was former resistance that we broke out from. So that maybe been 2 ways I would have traded MIST, but overall, you know, if there's a ticker that you're already not doing good on because you have like a very big negative bias on it, then maybe it's just better looking another way because, you know, honestly, we did pretty okay today. I was up $280. I was actually up $180 pre-market, and then into the market open, I made a huge mistake on ENTX, and I went back to basically 0. So I was up nicely, then went back to basically break even, and then I went back up to 180 with a nice second trade, and then I crawled my way up higher. So we've been on a nice little streak, but today was definitely more of a shaky day. So let's quickly kind of review some of the tickers, and honestly, I want to keep watching MIST. I just feel like it's going to fall off a cliff any moment, but this downwards trend it's on is much slower than I would have expected. So maybe it's not going to come out with an offering. Maybe it's not going to come out with some bad news. I don't know. Maybe it's just going to have a slow little descent here, but I really do think at one point something will come out about it, and I don't find any sort of a good idea of trading this one. So my paws are totally off on MIST, but yeah, still it's good fun to watch. Let's kind of move along here. I'll start with NMXC, which was our lead gapper from yesterday, or one of our lead gappers. The reason I traded this one is because I had a limit order at $8, and it pulled back to $8 right here pre-market, and I was like, or 755 or 760, and instantly I was like, you know what? I don't really like the fact that there's not a lot of volume on this. All the volume I'm seeing is red, and on the daily chart it looked pretty shady as well, or not the daily. If you go down here to the 4-hour chart, this one looked really, really unattractive. So you could see that all of this big green volume here there was no buy volume here. So I was like, uh-oh, this is like a huge artificial move, and then all the big volume is on the red candle. So when I saw that and I entered here at like 755, I was like, man, I really don't feel comfortable with this trade, so I'm just going to close it. I took a tiny loss here. You know, there's nothing wrong with the loss, guys. It's like I was on a 25 win streak actually before this trade. Let me quickly go to my trade journal. And if I was like super stubborn and I was like, you know what, I've had like 25 consecutive green trades in a row. There's no way I want to close my trade now for a loss. You know, let me hold on to it. All of a sudden, before you know it, I'd be down like, you know, 5% or so, or even more, 7%. I would be reaching my max stop, and I probably would have took a max loss here at like $7 because it broke that just a little bit. And then it ran up a lot. And then I would start getting FOMO, and then I would start being upset and yada, yada. It's a slippery slope to go through. So just, you know, stick to your rules and don't trade because you want to hit some sort of artificial stats on your trade journal or however you review your trade. So very quickly here, this is my trade journal. It's taking a little bit longer to load. Every time I'm streaming it tends to go a little bit slower. My computer basically tries to explode any moment here. But yeah, in a quick nutshell, I was like, I don't really feel confident with this one. I'm going to go ahead and close this one. So that was a good idea. I mean, we had this little retest here, but you just don't know if there's going to be a retest. You also don't know if this is going to go to like 6.5 and then have a little bounce here back to 7 and then continue selling off. So I was like, I'm going to manage my risk on this one and just keep it really, really simple. My next trade, MIST. Where is this one? MIST. This was actually kind of a cool little one. Pre-market. Oh, actually, we already talked about this one. Yeah, this was a cool little. Oops, sorry, I just realized I'm on the wrong ticker. This is the one we talked about already. Kind of a nice little breakout trade, and this is really the only one that I really wanted. And I knew, like I said before, that into the market open, I'm going to avoid this one. So if I'm going to trade it, it's going to be pre-market. I felt a little bit more comfortable trading this one pre-market, and yeah, so. This is the one we talked about. I took a small loss and then I loaded up again here, got that breakout. Could have probably traded into this area, but again, I didn't have that confidence behind MIST. Let's quickly see here. Okay, so now this is loading or loaded. This is good. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see what's going on here. Hopefully that works. Let me quickly see what that looks like. Okay, yeah, that works. So yeah, we had max consecutive trades. We had 21. This was a new record for me. And that's because all of yesterday, we were having some really, let me see here. Yeah, okay, this is still good. We had yesterday I didn't have one loss, and this is kind of rare. This is like almost never happens, but that's why I was on a max consecutive streak. And then I was like, well, okay, things are looking pretty good, but it doesn't matter if I take a small loss right now and just close the trade. Like, who cares if I'm ruining a streak? You always want to take every trade individually. For example, yesterday, I ended the day with $400 and I think $92 profit. And, I could have been like, let me try to get to $500. But then I'm starting to force trades because I'm trying to achieve something that has nothing to do with the actual charts, with the actual stocks in front of me. So yeah, I ended yesterday at $496. I could have been stubborn and been like, I got to break 500. I want to break 500. But at this point, I wanted to wrap up trading because, it was after 11 o'clock. I don't really want to trade anymore, yada, yada. So it's really, really good to just wrap up trading, take my $500 profits and move on. My average position size was also very small yesterday, with only $1,200 on my average position size. I really need to kick this up to like $2,000, $3,000. So I'm working towards getting more comfortable with bigger size. I'm not totally there yet, but yeah, yesterday was just, a bunch of base hits. This was my biggest winner yesterday. At no point did I have like a record breaker trade. Even this one, $1,500 position size isn't that much money. 8% is a pretty decent gain, but none of these trades yesterday were over 10%. So yesterday we had a good green day, but we had no blow away trades. These were all base hits, just consistent profits when we had them, and then just taking it one step at a time. Sometimes it's really, really that simple, and yeah, I couldn't really be more happy. My average win here, you could see it, 3.23%, which is kind of low. I gotta say, this is pretty low. I feel like I wish this was a little bit higher, but in the end, who really cares what it is? As long as you can go back and try to see if you can learn from it. Maybe there's certain trades that are very risky and they're making me walk away with lower percentage wins, and then I can go ahead and review those trades and maybe stop trading them. And that's how I find using Trade Journal is my biggest benefit. So I can, view this trade, for example, see what I did wrong, review my notes, watch the video, and then see like, oh, okay, I get it. Maybe this pattern is not the one I should be trading. And this, go figure, this is a breakout trade here. So classic, the one that I fumble on the most. Breakouts are really my worst strategy. So let me actually go ahead, and I actually have a tweet about this, guys. If you guys are on Twitter, check it out. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Alex Winkler right here, and I had a little tweet about this. So if you're on Twitter, definitely check it out. I would love to find you on Twitter as well. And yeah, okay, let's move on here, guys. Let's make some progress here. USEG, where is it? So this one, another lead gapper today, 0.6 million float, tiny, an oil gas company. Just like Wednesday, we had pure oil and gas companies. This one had no catalyst, so I thought it was probably a pure Sympathy play from the day before. So I knew I wanted to be very careful on this one. This is actually one of my biggest winners on the day. So this one, we had big support at $10, and I was like, okay, well, $10, I love, whole dollar support and resistance. So we were right here at $10 pre-market, and boom, I took this trade. It bounced up a little bit here. Small position size, And then, I sold it into this bounce. I actually sold a pretty decent 1087, which doesn't even look like it shows on the chart, because I sold on this candle and it doesn't even go up to 1087. So it's kind of a weird discrepancy there. I knew this thing was selling off, no volume, and I knew this thing had no catalyst. So after this trade, I was totally done trading it. I should have maybe considered trading it here at 950, but you just don't really know how far these things are going to dump. And I was pretty happy to just, walk away with this one. WHYVR, this was a really killer ticker. This is probably one of my favorite gappers on the day. 5 million float, Canadian electric gaming company, partners with the creators of Hootsuite to advance company streaming. I mean, that's all very hot news. But again, this one had a bunch of offering news. You can see recent offerings, $4 million here at $1.5 a share. So I was like, this is really shady stuff that I'm seeing here, the WHYVR. So again, I didn't really have confidence. Not necessarily like super big volume today. Let's go here to the daily. And then, like I said, with that 1.5 offering, I'm not surprised that this thing was stuck here at 1.5 for quite some time because it had that recent offering at 1.5. So I felt like the fact that it was up today was kind of shady. It did have a really nice catalyst, but I don't really totally trust it. I would maybe consider buying a dip here at 2, better yet, maybe at 188. We'll see what happens. I mean, this one was really rough pre-market, and I never ended up trading it pre-market because I just didn't get it. I didn't get how it was moving. I felt very choppy about it. The support zones weren't really holding. So I was very cautious with WHYVR. Unfortunately, though, out of the gates, I was like, okay, well, this one does look kind of good with a 5 million float, has that explosive possibility. I had a limit order here at 203. I was looking for a red to green move. This thing never did it and runs up 22% without me. So I missed this whole run up here, and which kind of sucks. I was actually way too focused on ENTX. It even had like a really, really nice breakout and 1 minute pullback here. I'm kind of upset I missed this. And then here it even has a nice little 2.4 retest. I mean, this thing was very tradable up to like 943. Eventually has a rounded bottom here, curls back up, has a nice breakout. I buy the dip on it. This was a pretty sweet move. Unfortunately, I did close this one a little bit too soon. Again, bought this dip down here. This was a very shaky move. Bought this dip here, bought again here went full size here. Was waiting for a VWAP retest. We got that VWAP test. I got out at 2.5, did a little bit of front running. My original sell order was at 2.5 too, so it actually would have been perfect. But I knew this thing had that flush capability at any second, and I did not want to be in a flush, so I front run a little bit. Better to get out, take some profits, than be stuck on this, very vicious 8% flush to the downside. So I don't really regret not maximizing my profits here on this one. The fact that I'm walking with $88 profit on WHYVR on small position size, I'm pretty happy about that alone. So I think we did a really, really good job today on that. ENTX, let's talk about this one, our last ticker on the day. This is the one I was a little bit shaky of. I really got to say, I fumbled hard on this, and I kind of feel silly about it because we were up quite a bit on this one pre-market. And let's just quickly go to the daily chart and talk about this one a little bit here. 76%, 76% gapping up pre-market around 11 a.m. 11 million float, so really, really nice float there. Israel Biotech announces oral PTH market survey results. Now, the fact that the catalyst seemed very vague and like market survey, that really isn't game changer news. So I was like, the fact that this thing is gapping up 76% and it goes is too much. And now it's at 25% on the day. So kind of goes to show that this one had no place being up so high. Not to mention we had big resistance here between 3 and 330. So I was like, this thing's probably going to pull back a lot. And that's why I knew $3 was big support, and I was waiting for a little bit of a dip buy here. We eventually dipped down here. I bought at 308 and then 309, and we moved a little bit higher. I closed this position, had my first little profit here. Was a very small size. This was like a $900 size, just to kind of wet the whistle a little bit. Had another dip trade here. Took most of my profits. This was a nice 4 or 5% winner again. Very similar move to this one, as big support came out at 275, and 275 is one of those psychological areas, not to mention big support and resistance here at 27 as well, because this is where we had that breakout right around here. So this was nice. Very very clean, simple trades, base hits. Again, same move here, or actually we just talked about this one. Here I was a little bit more aggressive on, and you guys saw this one right out of the gates. I was up like 80, 90 bucks at this point, and then I took this 9-minute EMA pullback, and then I sold here on the dip at 278. I was like, if 279 cracks, I'm going to sell at 278. Boom, you guys saw it live. I already started the live stream at this area, and then I quickly got out of this trade. So I did take like a 3% or so loss on this one, which was a little bit unfortunate. You know, I was like, but actually it wasn't that unfortunate. I took a small loss and I avoided a big loss. So actually it was a great trade in a way. So I'm happy that I stuck to my rules. And then this is where I made the mistakes though. This is where I really tripped over myself hard. So this one opens up here, 9-minute EMA. I bought the pullback here, which sucks because, or it doesn't suck, but you know, YVR, this buying the pullback would have been the right thing to do, right? So this one opens up YVR like we talked about before, and you know, has a nice pullback here and then explodes 22%. So just, you know, take a mental snapshot of this, and let's go back to ENTX and scroll back here again. So yeah, this one has a nice pullback as well, but this one doesn't continue as the other one did with 22%. I was looking for that break above VWAP, didn't get it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sell here if 2.78 cracks. I tried to do that, and for some reason my stop didn't get executed, which sucked. I was so annoyed. I was like, oh God, what's happening? I was like clicking buttons. It was annoying. You guys could check out the live stream. It was just a mess. It was a total mess. I end up selling this at the perfect low here at 268. I'm like, no, oh my God. And right away the price bounces back up. So boom, I was up on ENTX with the most money, and then I gave back all of my profits and then some, and I was right on the day on ENTX. So I'm like, wow, that was miserable. Like, wow, I did a really bad job just now. Oh well. So then again, I'm loading up some share size here at 274. I'm waiting for a breakout. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. I closed this for a scratch, whatever. Then again, you know, load up a little bit of share size here. Didn't get a full fill, which was kind of annoying, but I did hold through all this, and I got a really nice move here. Unfortunately, I had really small size. But we basically held this the whole way through. So this was a really nice big green trade. And then we had one last little dip trade here, which was looking very weak. So I ended up closing this one. And at that point, I was like, you know, ENTX, the fact that this one also has some warrants out about it, the fact that it's not really holding its highs well, the fact that, and this is a big one, the fact that it gapped down over 30% from pre-market highs, actually 41% from pre-market highs, is always a red flag for me. And actually, right here on my trade journal book, I put ENTX gapping out, I put a red 30 right there, and that's to remind me to be very cautious with ENTX because it was very weak pre-market. Typically, if a stock is so weak pre-market, you want to be very careful with it into the open, and that's kind of why I'm not surprised that this one didn't work. And this is honestly bad trading on my end. This was good trading on my end. So this one, I knew I should be careful with this one, and I knew, based on what I'm seeing, this bounce is weak. So what I did, what did I do? I closed this one for a small scratch. I barely made any money off of this. Who cares? I just avoided any downside risk on this one. And that was really good. So I had some really nice reversal trades on this one. But overall, the main trade I really should have loaded up on. I had very small size because I didn't get a real fill. I should have really tried to run my order a little bit higher here at 2.6. And then 265, but you know, this one quickly ran away from us, and then I didn't really feel comfortable buying more, although I should have bought more at one point. I don't know, it is what it is. Let's see, there's one more thing I did want to kind of point out for anyone that's interested. I did exit my Sonos trade. Let me quickly go here to the challenge account. This one was sweet. We walked away, I think, with like 7% or so on this one. P&L on the day is $44. Obviously, P&L open, you don't see this because I've held it for many days. But yeah, we had about a $2,000 share size. We bought this breakout here. You can watch the whole Sonos video on my channel if you want, why we entered Sonos. Roughly at 16 is where I got my entry when we had that quick breakout. And then I bought this one pre-market. Actually, no, this wasn't pre-market. I placed my limit order here. Bought the dip here, and then you know, 18 looked like it was having a bit of resistance. Volume was fading, so I just kind of closed this one, which I guess was too soon because it ran up quite nicely from where I exited. but whatever, I missed, probably 50 bucks from the perfect high. So it is what it is. I'm still walking away quite nicely on this one, probably like $150 or so. So I'm pretty happy about this trade. I do think that it could break 18. And I think something really important to think about on this one is the fact that, we have earnings coming out on the 5th of August. So we have a little bit of time, and usually it's, buy the rumors, sell the news. And even if earnings are good, I feel like there's a good chance that it's going to crash or pull back. So, I do think we might break 18 and then maybe run to 20, but I don't know. I kind of locked in my profits on this one. Like I said, I do think it could break 18 and run to 20, but sometimes just locking in some profits is really nice thing to do. So I'm pretty happy overall with the challenge account, kind of growing nicely for the fact that we're barely trading this one. I couldn't be any happier. All right, guys, that's everything for this video. I'll wrap it up here. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy the content. I know this was a bit longer, but there was a lot of things to talk about, and I think there were some really good lessons. Let me know, guys, what did you guys learn in this video? What are you looking to trade tonight? And are you excited for tomorrow morning? Leave some comments below, guys. I would love to see your guys' thoughts. Consider subscribing if you're new, and I will see you guys first thing tomorrow morning, starting at 9:15 to review the watch list and then trade the market open. Until then, guys, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.